Press play because it's time to get ready for Austin Talks! Happy New Year's, everyone, and welcome back to another fantastic episode of Austin Talks! And considering it's a new year with new stories, I'm glad to have you guys here, and I hope you stick around for the many more to come. Being a grandparent is hard. Obviously not as hard as being a parent, but, well, if you gotta raise your grandkids, there's just some things that the newer generations are gonna do that you're not gonna know how to deal with. What am I referring to? Well, considering it's the new year, I think it's time I got some shit off my chest. So, strap down, grab the lotion, and let the show begin! Let me start this off by saying that Grandpa, Grandma, I love you guys very much, and if you're ready to hear some very weird shit about me, then stick around! Now that the pleasantries are out of the way, do you guys remember the first time you ever saw a boob? Oh yeah, episode 5 and we're already talking about boobs. Why did I know it was gonna turn out this way? For some people, they might have stumbled on their dad's or big brother's porno mag. Wow, I forgot how dated saying porno mag is. For some others, more often than not, their friends might have shown them porn. Now, considering we're in the future and every Tom, Dick, and Stanley has the entire internet in their hands, it's pretty much meaningless for your friends to show you pornography these days. But when I was a kid, which, well, really wasn't that long ago, when your friend showed you porn, it was like opening up a door to a different reality you never knew existed. And that is where our story begins. If you guys saw back in my second episode of Austin Talks, which, well, you should watch if you haven't already, I introduced you guys to a former friend of mine named Quan. Yep, the great monkey boy is back for a triumphant return! Now, considering he was one of the kids to get me into weed, and, well, at that time he was a pretty badass role model in my life, plus, we used to chill a lot, so when we would hang out, there was always something fucked up to learn from him. Now, our story begins a few weeks after my 12th birthday, where, for some reason, I got into watching YouTube videos. You know the ones, the Naruto AMVs, or anime music videos, the Rick Rolls, the Green Day music videos. I'll walk a lonely road, the only one that I have ever... you get what I mean. But with that newfound addiction came an interesting situation involving Quan. One day, I invited him over to drink Yoo-Hoos and watch YouTube videos on my old-ass computer in the middle of the living room. Whilst we were in the middle of having a good old kaffa at the video on the screen, I suddenly turned my head to the left and saw Quan with a very malicious smile on his face. Right before I was about to ask what he was smiling at, Quan said, "Hey Austin, have you ever seen tits before?" I didn't know what to say. I just responded with the typical Kid Austin answer. "Psst, yeah, I've seen tits before, what do you take me for, a kid?" Then he responded with, "Well then you don't mind if I pull some up here on your computer." I remember it got real quiet for a second because I hadn't actually seen porn before, and my heart was racing at about 1,000,000 miles an hour. But I just said what any gracious host would say in that position. "For sure, man, pull that shit up." A few clicks and types later, and I was staring at big ol' blacktitties.com, and it was the best and most confusing moment of my life. Not only had I never seen porn before, but I never saw breasts in such success before. I might be exaggerating a bit, but it felt like the entire screen was just boobs and butts and all the stuff. I didn't know what to do, so I just pulled out the cool kids card, crossed my arms, and said, "Cool shit, man, these titties are off the charts." Obviously in my head, I was screaming at the top of my lungs, but on the outside, as to not start a big hullabaloo, I was cool as ice. Now, once Quan left and went home after our uncomfortable afternoon of tits for 20 minutes, I decided to investigate further. I actually ended up on a website called Newgrounds.com, which, aside from being the best website to build a voiceover, animation, or artistic portfolio, it's also a great place to see obscene amounts of animated porn. And if you guys want to know anything about me, I love big ol' anime titties, and you guys best remember that for when I'm famous one day. Now, I had smacked my willy a few times in the past to the idea of kissing a lady friend or two, but I had never really considered going at it on my computer in the middle of the living room. But, well, Nobody was home, it was a new experience, so I scrolled around and found a video appropriately named Android 18 in Cell, where, if you ever watched Dragon Ball Z before, you probably know what I'm referring to. If not, then you're a dirty fucking liar. But once the video began, I started going at it like some real Olympic type shit. The only thing was, I wasn't getting a medal. And when you're a kid in the middle of your first sexy moment, everything outside of you and the porn becomes null and void. Especially the sound of a car pulling into the driveway. I'm pretty sure you guys know where this is going, but you guys came this far. So, while I was about to reach what people call the peak, I hear the door, which was not locked for some reason, open up. And like some real shitty sitcom, in comes my uncle, grandparents, little brothers. Yep, the whole fucking town's here, and they just unknowingly bought tickets to the most embarrassing moment in any young boy's life. But fret not, my friends, because good old Austin had the perfect escape plan. I pulled my pants up over my rock-hard dinghy and sprinted and tripped all the way up the stairs. Obviously, my grandparents and me had a real family moment where they told me what I was doing was perfectly normal. Apparently they didn't see the hardcore hentai on the screen, am I right? Anyways, they decided to get me my own computer, so a situation like what just happened now wouldn't happen again in the future, as good parental figures should do. Parents, a lesson here you could take is, don't shame your kids for exploring their sexuality. Let them learn and grow on their own. So Grandpa, Grandma, if you're seeing this, I'm glad you made it this far. I know I'm not the most normal person ever, but you guys have had a huge impact on my life, and I love you both very much for making me the man I am today. And to all the peeps watching this, I wish you guys a happy new year. And make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram to see all the boring shit I do for the rest of the year. And remember, I'll see you guys on the next episode of Austin Talks!